Well, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have many stuffs and things to talk about, such as upcoming videos. We have some fun things in the works that I am sure you are going to enjoy. We are also going to talk about a new lens that I have for my Canon R6, which will be on its way, or is on its way. I should be getting it soon, and that's going to be very exciting. Some fun things we can do with that lens. I'm going to talk about kind of a little update on Hansom Flake. I did the first impressions video on this last week, and I had an opinion on it that maybe has already changed. We're going to get into that. And then I guess maybe the topic of the show, I'm not sure. It's been a year since all this craziness began, and maybe we'll just have a little check-in, how we're all doing. And then of course we have your questions and hashtag askstuffandthings. Please keep those questions coming. We enjoy them here on Stuff and Things. Whew, so let's get into this. That's good coffee. All right, number one, we have a video coming up. Well, we have 3 videos every week on Stuff and Things Plays. We are continuing with the Hitman 2 series on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I appreciate so much the people who are watching those videos. I'm enjoying the series a lot. I've already finished the game, and I have, all these episodes done for several weeks into the future. I have started a new game, which will be coming up on the channel. I was thinking of interspersing it with the Hitman videos, but from the feedback I've gotten, people seem to enjoy it when I just blaze through a game and then start a new one. They don't necessarily like it, because there's some people who, they drop in and out, and if they're interested in one series, they don't like to have to wait longer for a new episode. So we're gonna finish Hitman 2 first, but then the new game is a game in the survival genre. So maybe that will give you a hint as to what it is. It's also very popular. It's very popular now. I don't know if it will be by the time I start doing videos on it on the channel, but I've recorded several of those. It seems like it's going to be really fun. So look forward to that. And then the video that we have for this week, I think I mentioned last week that I had gotten some amazing pipes from our good friend Peter Straub. He was no longer able to use them, so he very kindly sent them along to me. Here they are. That's all you're gonna see for now though, because I did a whole video about each of these pipes. There are 2 Costellos and a Mark Tinsky, and they're all fantastic. So if you want some nice drool-worthy up-close images of some really, really fantastically made pipes, stay tuned for Wednesday's video that will be posting noon Pacific time on Wednesday, where I go in depth on each one of those pipes, talk about the nomenclature, the markings on them, what they are, how much I enjoy them. Really, it's gonna be a fun video. I got a lot of good feedback on the video I did about my Dunhills, and I'm also kind of curious, since you guys seem to like videos where I show you pipes, would you like one where I just talk about my Costellos? Because I have a fairly good collection of Costellos now, so I could do a pipe just focusing, or a video just focusing on those pipes. If you wish, let me know in the comments below. All right, I mentioned that I have a new lens for my Canon R6 on the way. This is something I've been wanting for a long time, and you may have seen videos that I've tried to do in the past where I'm trying to take pictures of birds, trying to take photography or photographs of wildlife. And with the lens that I have a 50mm lens, a prime, and then I have a 24-105, the lens that I'm using to film this right now. So 105 is the longest focal length that I have right now. So if you're trying to take pictures of birds, not the easiest thing in the world. I was able to, coax some crows a little bit closer, so it wasn't too bad. But if you really want to do photography of especially birds, you need a longer focal length. And Canon has come out with these lenses for the RF mount system, or the mirrorless system, the RF mount, that are kind of ridiculous. There is a 600mm and an 800mm lens. They're primes. They are fixed f11 apertures. And for those of you who are not into photography, f11 is a very narrow, and what you would say is a very dark aperture. And so on the surface, it sounds like these lenses aren't really very useful because it seems as though you'd only be able to use them on really sunny days. But to have a 600 millimeter, I ordered the 600 millimeter, to have a 600 millimeter focal length for $700 is absolutely unheard of. When I was looking at super telephoto lenses for this camera, thinking that I wanted to do wildlife photography, they have lenses in their old EF mount. There's a 600 millimeter, I think like an f4 that's $13,000. That's the price you're looking at. So with an f11 aperture, it basically means that, you know, you're not gonna be able to shoot in low light. But watching tons of reviews of these lenses, and they're also very small for being 600 millimeter, like the f4 that's $13,000 is about this long probably and about that wide. It's absolutely behemoth, or it is a behemoth, but this f11 is, I don't know, maybe that long and about like that. It is much smaller, much more compact, easy to carry around, and even though it does have the smaller aperture, you can bump the ISO on the mirrorless cameras quite a bit without getting a bunch of noise. And I'm just really excited to see what I can do with this lens. There will definitely be some new videos about me trying to do some wildlife photography coming up on the channel. I think the lens is supposed to get here tomorrow. And of course, it's gonna be a rainy day here, so I'm not really gonna be able to take it out. But I don't know, in the coming weeks, stay tuned for some really fun videos where I attempt to get pictures of wildlife. Next, we talked about Hansom Flake in a video very recently, the first impressions video for Hansom Flake. And in that video, I said that because it was a flavored blend, I probably wouldn't want to do a full review. I thought that the first impressions video was going to be the only video that I did, but I'm trying to think of a situation where my first impression has been so completely altered. And I don't want to overstate this, but I've been really enjoying this. I decided I was going to finish the tin, and I don't know, it took maybe 4 or 5 days, and I've suddenly decided that I really like it. And that's kind of worrying because it is a flavored blend, but I think that maybe I'm enjoying this so much that I'm gonna have to do a full review. And I don't know when exactly that's gonna be coming up because we have Peter's Pipes coming up this week. Then the following week, I think I wanna try to do a video about the new lens I got and do some wildlife photography. But I think coming up soon, we may have to do a full review of Hansom Flake. And if that's something you would like to see, let me know in the comments below. Well, can you believe it's been just about 1 year since the current certain public health crisis started rearing its ugly head? I remember it was around this time last year that people were talking a lot about it, whether or not we were going to be having lockdowns and mask mandates and all these different things. And I have to be careful what I say because there is always the issue of saying certain things in videos and then having those videos taken down or blocked, and also just really annoying people because this is such a hot button issue. People are very, very vehemently, people hold on to their position very, very firmly, and they don't like to be dissuaded of it. So we're not even gonna touch on any of that. But it's just basically, it occurred to me that about a year ago, my fiance and I were moving into our new place, and that was when all this was starting. And I don't know, I just never thought that it would be this long. I know most people didn't. And it's just sort of been surreal to think that it's been a whole year where this has been the primary thing that people talk about, that's in the news. I mean, obviously there have been a lot of other things that have occasionally eclipsed that as far as what's in the zeitgeist. But I guess the thing that sort of freaks me out a little bit is the fact that people can get so used to things so easily. Like I was walking around, my fiance and I went out because we were gonna take some pictures, and every single human being we saw was just walking around, even if they're completely by themselves, no one else around them, wearing a mask and not even seeming as though they had to even think about it anymore. And imagine over a year ago thinking that we would be in that place where everybody just, as a matter of course, you just wear a mask. And if you see someone coming, you go far away from them because you don't want to be anywhere near them. And it's just so weird. Like, think about going into a grocery store or going into a convenience store and putting a bandana over your face. Like, that would be the first thing that you would need, or that would be the only thing you would need for someone to just immediately call the police. And now if you don't do that, people will freak out. It's so strange. It's amazing how quickly things can change and how we can kind of just get used to it too. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm particularly used to it, but you know, it's just become a matter of course for so many people. And you've got to wonder what kind of psychological effect this is having, especially for little children, where if they don't remember a time before this, if they're like 2 or 3 years old and everyone they see has their faces covered, I don't know. It's very strange. We're not going to talk about whether or not we should be doing this. We'll leave that for maybe a post-mortem afterwards. But it's just very strange that we have been doing this for so long. And yeah, I'm just kind of wondering how everybody's doing. We don't need to, I don't want to open up a big can of worms where people start debating the efficacy of lockdowns or whether or not you should have mask mandates or things like that. But just, how's everybody doing? I know so many people were out of work. I know a lot of people were having issues just kind of mental health wise, feeling really isolated, away from people. I'm very lucky in that I live with Diamond, my fiance, so I always have someone around. So if I need human connection, it's always there for me, face-to-face human connection. And I know a lot of people who may be single, who don't have that option. They don't have someone close to them who they can see on a daily basis. And I'm just curious what it's been like for everyone. Is everyone doing okay? Basically, I want to know if everyone's doing okay out there. Let me know in the comments below. And now, gang, it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and I will do my best to answer your question on the next Sunday Stuff and Things. Also, you can write to me via Patreon if you are a Patreon supporter. You can also try to ask me questions on YouTube. I try to go through all those comments and pick out questions if I find them. I know some people aren't huge fans of Twitter, and I understand why, but we have some good ones this week, or we have some interesting ones this week, and that doesn't mean that I don't think they're good, but let's just get into it. So the first one is via Patreon. It is from Krisztian Kovacs, and Krisztian says, do you know any non-blended ribbon cut Virginia tees? And I'm not exactly sure what you mean, Krisztian. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter, by the way. But I think what you're saying is, do I know of any straight Virginias that are ribbon cut? I'm not exactly sure. So I think when you say non-blended, you're meaning that it's a straight Virginia. And I hope that I have that correct. And it is true that when you think of straight Virginia blends, they are often in flake form. That just that just seems to often be the case. You think of things like Dunhill Flake, you think of Samuel Gawith Full Virginia Flake, some of the Solani blends. They're often in flake form. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I can recall any straight Virginias that are ribbon cut. I don't think I can. I'm sure they exist. I know some broken flakes, some sort of rubbed out flake versions. But yeah, off the top of my head, I cannot think of any ribbon cut straight Virginias. If anyone can think of any, let Krisztian know in the comments below. But thank you for the question, Krisztian. Next, via Twitter. Now this is one that I wasn't sure I wanted to read out loud, but I know that this person is okay with me reading it out loud, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. This is from RnowGB via Twitter at GB_Rnow, and they say, hi Bradley, I was diagnosed with cancer in December, and I've been going through chemotherapy ever since. Every Monday, or every other Monday, I get the therapy, and there I watch your Sunday video. I'm alone because of pandemic measures, and it feels a bit like having a friend there. About 3 weeks ago, on your Snowy Park Sunday video, You mentioned how you felt about this man from a podcast, and it sounded exactly like what I feel about you. I was mentioning Chris Wessling, unfortunately from the Around the NFL podcast, who had died. Next Monday will be the exact half treatment done, and I just wanted to thank you a lot. It is a hard moment being there, and you make me laugh and keep me entertained, making it a lot easier and shorter. 3 hours can feel eternal sometimes. Again, thank you very much for everything, especially in this moment. Wish your working site was better this week. From Arnow GB. I don't know where in the world you're from, Arnow. I have the feeling that you're not in the US, but I don't know how to respond to a message like that. It is so far beyond what I would ever expect anyone to say about this show, where a doofus sits around and talks about stuff and things every single week. The fact that it could bring you one modicum of relief when you're going through such a ridiculously difficult time in your life means the world to me. I can't thank you enough for letting me know that, because it's really, really gratifying to hear. And all I can say is that I really care about you as a viewer and a human being, and I really hope the best for you. I hope for the best outcome for you, and I'll be here. I'll be here every week, and it's really nice to know that you're watching and that it's giving you some kind of relief. And yeah, I don't know if I can really add too much more to that. I just hope you get better, and thank you. Next, via YouTube, we have Matthew Paring. Matthew says, oh, and this is a response to the Dunhill video, where I posted my Dunhill Four. I have owned a couple of new Dunhill pipes, both from the late 70s, which I bought off the shelf. One thing I will say about them is that in my experience, they do take a bit of time to break in. Patience is key. All of my pipes are in a rotation, which means any pipe I own gets one bowl in it about every 3 weeks. Then it is back to the rack to rest until about 3 more weeks have passed. You must have quite a few pipes. At this rate, I found that it took about 3 to 4 years for my new Dunhills to come around and be what I call broken in. But once they hit that milestone, I can only describe them as exquisite. In my life, I have had over 10 Dunhills, and all have been great, and I will definitely be purchasing more in the future. Yeah, I found that experience as well. Thank you for the feedback, Matthew. The Dunhill Bulldog that I got, because I do have a fairly large rotation as well, I only get a bowl maybe once a week in it, and yeah, it still isn't broken in, and it's gonna take a while, but I fully expect it to be amazing once it does. Next, from Danoyes1, Danoyes maybe, 1, via YouTube. Interested to get your take on the physics of light. Light speed seems to be a number approaching 700 million miles per hour, but our galaxy is apparently traveling 1.3 million miles per hour. So is a light particle emitted from the side of the sun facing our direction of travel going faster than a particle facing away from our direction of travel? We measure miles per hour here on Earth relative to the Earth's surface, so is light speed measured in relation to point of origin? Also, if we are traveling 1.3 million miles per hour, then we must be experiencing some time dilation, which would make us all time travelers. Yes. All right, and now it's time for the very best part of the show, and that is where I thank you, our Patreon supporters. Gang, thank you so much for your support on Patreon. If you want to support the channels, there is a link in the description box below. We can't monetize quite a few of the videos that we put on YouTube because they have to do with these things, and YouTube doesn't like that. So your support is really appreciated. It goes towards getting new blends to review, paying off camera equipment to make this channel look better and sound better and just in general be better. So we very much appreciate your support, and every week we like to thank those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, Cody Striegler, Glenn, Gus, Jason Buckner, Jen Oside, John Leone, Krisztian Kovacs, Joshua Jackson, Gloria Phillips, MDoftheNorth, Ryan McFadin, and Matt Marino, our newest $25 supporter. Thank you all so much. And of course, thank you to our Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channel at $100 a month. People like Peter Straub, Bob Magee, and David Gaudreau. Thank you again, Peter, for those amazing pipes. Everyone's gonna be able to see those coming up on Wednesday, so please stay tuned for that. Also, the Hitman videos, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maybe something about Hansom Flake coming up soon in the future. We have our new Canon lens which I will try to use to take some wildlife photography as well. Thank you all so much. Please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a pleasant Sunday. Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.